Welcome back, everyone. It is Eric from Rare Candy, and today I'm back bringing you guys some more Scarlet and Violet tabletop gameplay. So here in this video, we have a showdown between a couple of different rogue deck ideas. Over on the left, I'm going to be playing the brand new Oinkologne EX, and over on the right, we have Vince Owen, a buddy of mine. He's going to be playing the brand new Maushold deck. So we'll have to see which of these sort of, sleeper deck ideas winds up taking the dub today. I actually did full deck profiles for both of these on the channel already. So if you guys want to see a more in-depth look at these decks, I'll put links to those down below in the description for you to check those out as well. It looks like we are getting underway here. Looks like Vince is going first. He's eyeing himself down an Ultra Ball to lead the game with. His opening hand is a little bit awkward though, I will admit. And it looks like his Ultra Ball is going to be a little bit clunky. Of course, he does have to discard 2 cards from hand to search his deck for a Pokemon. It looks like he's going to be discarding an Ultra Ball as well as the brand new Armarouge. So we'll have to see if that Pokemon winds up coming in handy during this series. But normally with Armarouge, it allows you to move fire energy from your Pokemon to your active. So that is going to be the way that Vince is going to be, powering up his Mausholds for those turns where he doesn't have a double turbo energy. Looks like he's going to be searching out another Tandemaus. Yeah, that looks like what he's eyeing down here, which is definitely good. He definitely needs to get a lot of these into play very quickly, because the whole idea with the Maushold deck is whenever you get 4 of these into play, you can hit for 280 damage, of course, barring any damage modifiers or any double turbo energy damage reduction. So if he can ever get all these Mausholds in play, he is actually going to be able to one-shot my Oinkologne EX. And that's sort of the whole game I'm trying to play, is by denying one-hit KOs. So we'll have to see which of these strategies is ultimately going to come out on top here. But it looks like I am going to lead the game with a Courses Experiment. So of course I have to look at the top 5 cards of deck. I get to keep 3, and then I put the other 2 into the Lost Zone. So right out the gate, pretty decent start so far. I have 2 Lechonk, and no doubt with this level ball, I'm going to grab myself another Bidoof here. So can't really ask for too much more. I think I might want to see an energy attachment, but other than that, guys, I think this is a pretty solid opening for the Oinkologne EX deck. But let's see. Yeah, it looks like my hand is pretty stacked for next turn. I do have energy I can get down as well. So going to get down a Lucky Energy, which is a pretty cool card here. It just provides a single colorless energy, but if the Pokemon that it's attached to gets attacked, even if it's knocked out, that player gets to draw a card. So Vince is going to play a Hisuian Heavy Ball to kick off his turn there. Unfortunately, though, no basics are in his prize cards. Normally, you would use Hisuian Heavy Ball to replace a basic in your prizes with the Heavy Ball. So this is one of the few instances where it kind of feels bad not to have prized any basics during this game. And then he does have a Bruno, which is a little bit unfortunate. This is normally not a card you want to play this early in the game, but unfortunately Vince's hand is just kind of dead. He has to see some extra cards here. But with Bruno, he shuffles his hand and gets 4. But if one of his Pokemon was knocked out on my previous turn, then he would actually get 7. So you can see this is definitely not his ideal supporter for this turn. But that being said, that's actually not a bad hand to work with. He has a Level Ball. He can grab another Pokemon. He has Rescue Carrier, Fire Energy, and I think a Serena for next turn. So again, he's not finding his ideal supporters, but at least he is able to finally start drawing some cards. So it looks like Vince is eyeing himself down a Maushold here, maybe just to put a little bit of pressure onto this Bidoof. He knows that he has this Rescue Carrier in hand, so if this Maushold does go down, he can actually use that to get this whole evolution line back. So it looks like that is what he's going to do here. Probably just going to hit this Bidoof for, 50 damage right now? Because again, with this Maushold, it's 70 for each Maushold you have in play. He just has the 1 plus the double turbo energy reduction. And here you can see this is a situation where twin energy would be so much better, but unfortunately the card has rotated. But it looks like we are discussing something here. Maybe just debating if he attacks or... Okay, it looks like he's going to switch things up. Just going to go for another Tandemaus, I would assume here. So it looks like he's rethinking that level ball target. So yeah, just going to give himself another Tandemaus. And guys, at the end of the day, too, these games are pretty low stakes. We're just testing. We're just trying to make sure that we are, in fact, doing the right plays. So we don't really mind if each other take back, small little plays like that, as long as it's not really affecting, anything too heavily here. So it looks like Vince is at least going to get in some chip damage with that attack on Tandem Mouse. The attack's nothing too crazy, you just flip 2 coins, it does 30 for each heads. But looking ahead over to my turn here, looks like I do have a Burrell, definitely want to evolve into that. Looks like I'm going to attach a V-Guard energy from hand to this Bidoof. And let's see what I'm going to do here. I do have an Ultra Ball, okay. So just debating what I actually want to discard here, but I am going to get rid of a Boss's Orders. I am going to opt to save that Cheryl that is sitting in my hand, just because I know Vince is probably going to have to 2-hit KO me. Cheryl definitely can be good on the next turn to heal off some of my damage. But there's going to be Oinkologne EX. So if you guys aren't familiar with this guy yet, it has an attack for 1 colorless energy, does 10, plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So pretty decent against sort of a low HP deck like Vince's that is aiming to keep his bench filled at all times. And so I am going to use that Industrious Incisors ability on the barrel to refill my hand a little bit. Going to bench a Squabit, which actually could wind up being an important card. Very good, I think, for any deck that is playing this sort of a barrel engine. But let's see what I'm going to get off of this Level Ball. If I'm not mistaken, I think I might have prized a Lechonk here, because this seems like a situation where I would go for a 3rd Lechonk, but instead I'm going for a 3rd Bidoof, which also is kind of okay. I mean, if I can set up 3 Barrel, that would be great, but really, as long as I get 2 in play, I think that's sort of the sweet spot I'm looking for here. But just going to retreat this Bidoof over onto the bench here. And not sure what else I would really want for turn. I'm not really in danger of a knockout, so I'm just going to use that first attack on Oinkologne to take the KO on this little Tandem Mouse here. So let's see what Vince is going to do. Okay, so he's actually going to do, I think, kind of a cool play here. He's going to discard the Zorua with Serena, and then use the Rescue Carrier to get back the Zorua, plus the Tandem Mouse that just got knocked out. So you can see Vince is starting to pop off a little bit more. You know, it's still a little bit slow getting going for him, unfortunately, but, you know, he's starting to stabilize a little bit. So with this Level Ball, the question is, does he set up another basic, or does he get a Maushold and start trying to put on some pressure here? And honestly, I wouldn't really mind seeing the Maushold here that much if he does go that route, just because he can do 40 to this Oinkologne. And then, even if it gets knocked out, he can use that Zoroark Phantom Transformation ability to transform back into the Maushold that gets knocked out. So I think that's what I want to see from Vince here. I didn't get a great look at his hand, though, so maybe there's something else in there that could affect which route he goes, but that's kind of what my gut tells me. I kind of want to see the Maushold come down this turn. Because Vince knows I also play full Face Guard, which actually could sort of mess up the math for, you know, some of his KOs. So that's another reason why I think it could be a good idea to maybe get this 40 damage onto this Oinkologne this turn. And also, next turn potentially, let's see. It might, well, I was trying to think if he can actually get a KO with 3 Maushold next turn, if he does go for the 40 this turn. But that could wind up being a little bit awkward. But here looks like he's actually going to go for Charcadet. Looks like he's kind of conceding maybe that this... Okay, but actually looks like he's just going to sacrifice it. Saying, you know what, I want to keep these Mausholds in play. I really just want to wait till I can have a big turn where I can get all of my Mausholds in play and take a big one-shot here. So I'm just debating what I want to get down. Going to use that Industrious Incisors ability to draw until I have 5. Have an Ultra Ball, so I could even go for another Barrel, but honestly, I don't have a whole lot in my hand I really want to get rid of. So for that reason, just going to knock out this Charcadet and just save this hand for the moment. Okay, so there's going to be a Nest Ball. I imagine we'll see either another Charcadet or a Zorua at this point. He is also eyeing Radiant Zard. Okay. So it could be a little dangerous to get Radiant Zard down preemptively like this, just because it is probably an important Pokemon he's going to need in this matchup at some point. But there's going to be Cynthia's Ambition, definitely a supporter he likes to see at this point. So normally you only get to draw until you have 5, but if one of your Pokemon was knocked out on the previous turn, you can draw until you have 8 cards. So Vince is finally starting to get in a groove after that sluggish start here. He has Level Ball, so he can get himself a Maushold, maybe put on a little pressure to this Oinkologne if he chooses to. We also could just see him maybe evolve the bench or something like that. But we'll have to take a look at his hand again. That'll give us a better idea of what route he might be going here. So he's got a couple stadiums, looks like a double turbo energy as well. Now, if he has the double turbo energy, that leads me to believe maybe he will attack this turn. I think he's checking his discard pile for fire energy since he does have magma basin in hand. Okay, and I think he actually does have one in there, so he actually could use the magma basin this turn. So, of course, he does have to take 20 damage in the process, but he is starting to get that Radiant Charizard powered up. And it looks like he is going to just go for the attack on Maushold, just start to soften up this Oinkologne. And due to that lucky energy, I do get to draw a card. And then there is going to be my actual draw for turn. Okay, so I am going to go for the Cheryl, just heal off that damage. It doesn't seem like very important damage since it's not a lot, but it actually can be the difference between getting knocked out next turn. So going to heal that off that Oinkologne and then get a full face guard, which is a cool Pokemon tool card. It reduces damage done to the Pokemon it's attached to by 20 if they don't have an ability. And looks like at this point, just going to take a knockout on this Maushold. And this is really, I think, the turn that Vince has to take a knockout. Otherwise, this game kind of runs away from him, because I think his path to victory here is he has to take a knockout this turn with either Radiant Charizard or Maushold. Next turn, he takes a knockout with the opposite. And then he also does play the Pokemon Go Slowbro in this list, which can allow him to take his final two prizes. So again, this is the turn. He has to get a KO this turn, or he's kind of just out of the game at this point. So he's debating if he wants to get down a Nest Ball. At first, he's going to go for a Pokegear, it appears. Okay, there's going to be a Professor's Research, so he's just trying to thin, I guess, his deck as much as possible here. But I do still want to see this Nest Ball come down. Because at this point, Vince just needs, I believe it's a Defiant Band, as well as, what, 1 fire energy? Since right now, Radiant Charizard's attack cost is only 2 energy, and it hits for 250, that would do the trick here. So he just wants to thin as many cards out of deck as possible to increase his odds of finding these 2 cards. Because if he does, he is still very much so in this game and easily could win this. Okay, so there's going to be the research, just tossing away a double turbo energy in the process, which does feel bad, but this is a big research. And yeah, unfortunately there, Vince does not get what he wants. He actually doesn't get either of the cards he needs to be able to keep up in this game. So I think Vince is just taking a peek through his discard. And yeah, he sees the writing on the wall. Vince is smart. He knows, hey, I needed the KO this turn. And if I don't get it, I'm kind of just out of this game. So let's just go ahead and scoop this one up and go into another game. We're playing a best 2 out of 3 series, so maybe in the next one, I can bring this one back. You can kind of see the Oinkologne deck did kind of what it was supposed to do. Those turns where Vince can't get a one-shot, you know, I can play cards like Cheryl or even Sharon's Care, which we didn't really see in this matchup, at least in game 1 here, that can heal off my Pokemon and prevent Vince from ever taking KOs. So Vince is going to be forced to taking one-shots if he does want prizes, but luckily his deck is sort of built to be able to do that. He just kind of got, I think, a little bit unlucky with that research at the end. And, you know, also in Vince's defense, he did have a little bit of a sluggish start getting going as well. So no doubt he'll probably have a better shot at getting going in this second game here. And it looks like Vince's opening hand is actually not too bad. I think he's starting with a Zorua, if I saw correctly. Okay, so he does have a Tandem Mouse he can get down. He's got a Charcadet. It's got Level Ball. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely a pretty solid opening hand. He definitely just wants a supporter for the next turn. That's really the big card he was missing in that game 1 there. And here he's just taking a peek through his deck, seeing what all he's going to have access to. I think I see a third Tandem Mouse, but I actually think maybe his 4th one might be prized, which definitely could be an issue as we get later into the game. Now, the big way he can overcome that is he can actually still get 4 Maushold in play by transforming into them via Zoroark. So he does still have a way at getting all 4 in play. It just might require a little bit of extra work on his part. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him too much here, but nevertheless, still a pretty decent start to this second game for him. think the only other thing I'd maybe want to see from him is going to be an attachment for turn, but I'm not sure if he actually has energy at that point. Nah, it doesn't look like he does. So he's just going to have to pass over to me. So I am going to bench Squavit. Let's see. I have a Nest Ball. So I'm going to grab myself a Bidoof, and I am eyeing myself down a Colress's Experiment. That's definitely my ideal supporter to lead the game with here, just because it lets you keep the cards in your hand instead of other things like Judge or Research, and allows you to just sort of build your hand up for a, a more explosive turn too. So there's going to be the Colress. Let's see, what 5 cards am I going to have to pick from? I do see a Bidoof, I see a Level Ball, see a Boss's Orders, see Escape Rope. Don't think I need the Escape Rope. That seems like an easy one to chuck away there. Also could get rid of Level Ball as well. It is possible for Vince to get a KO on this next turn. Yeah, and it looks like those are the cards I am going to choose to get rid of here. Oh, and I do have another Lechonk anyways. So yeah, even if Vince does have a KO, I still have another Lechonk sitting on the bench. But just going to attach myself a Lucky Energy. No need to put down a Stadium or the full face guard just yet. So probably just going to save those for my next turn, I would imagine here. Because in the case of the full face guard, Vince would need 2 Mausholds to knock me out either way, so it really doesn't fix any math until I start evolving. So there's going to be a Nest Ball from Vince. Let's see what he's going to get on the bench. I would imagine a Zorua. That seems like a good idea, since more than likely the one in the active spot is just going to get knocked out on my next turn. Here he's just taking a peek through his deck, seeing what all he's going to have access to. But yeah, the Zorua definitely makes sense here. He's probably just going to hide behind this active one this turn and just let it get knocked out while he continues to build up his board a little bit more. So there's going to be a Maushold and then a Research. Kind of unfortunate he does have to get rid of the Rescue Carrier. Sometimes that can be a pretty important card for chaining these Mausholds over and over. So there's going to be another Maushold. So definitely a pretty good start so far. Again, just no energy. That's like the one thing we haven't seen from Vince just yet. We see a couple Zoroarks. Now, Vince could evolve into a Zoroark. We do see a Cynthia's Ambition in his hand. So I think right now he actually might be considering, well, I could evolve into Zoroark, and that would make it easier to play down my hand for next turn. But if I do that, I'm kind of just conceding that I'm going to lose a Zoroark here, just to be able to draw 1 extra card. So is that worth it? And it looks like Vince is going to say, no, know what? Zoroark's too important. I don't want to just easily chuck these things away like that. So here I am going to get down full face guard. Definitely an important card that really forces Vince to need additional cards like basic fire energies or Defiant Band if he does want to get a KO on Oinkologne. And here just debating what I actually want to get rid of with this Ultra Ball. So it looks like I'm maybe thinking about I could Ultra Ball to find myself a barrel and refill my hand, but I also could use Serena first. I think that's sort of the debate in my mind. I could Serena first and save the Ultra Ball for after I Serena, or I can just Ultra Ball now and hope I hit something off of the barrel. So here I am going to just toss away Boss's Orders. And yeah, I do find the Oinkologne, and now if I still want to, I can use that Ultra Ball that I kept in hand to find myself a barrel to keep drawing cards here. So yeah, that actually makes sense to me. I kind of want to see Ultra Ball getting rid of that Nest Ball and the Judge if possible, to find the barrel. I think that's what I ideally want to see in this situation. Yeah, so I'm going to get down the other Lechonk, toss away that Judge and the Ultra Ball, or Nest Ball, I think it was. So this seems good. So now I can use that Industrious Incisor's ability to draw until I have 5 cards in hand. And the barrel is really important too for this deck, just because in the mid and late game, you find yourself using supporters more like Sharon's Care, more like Cheryl, and you're not usually drawing many cards with your actual draw supporters. So it's important to be able to keep using the barrel to supplement your lack of draw power from the supporters that you find yourself using. Gonna get down, looks like another Lucky Energy. And taking a peek through my discard, I have a Pow Pad in hand. I could consider using it, maybe to get back that Boss's Orders that is in there. But really, I kind of want to save Pow Pad most of the time until I can use it with some of my healing supporters. And from there, just going to take the knockout on Zorua here. Just going to save my hand for the moment, which definitely seems good. So I imagine Vince might start putting on some pressure this turn, especially because he's only a few cards shy of a KO here. There's going to be a Nest Ball. Okay, is eyeing himself down a Zorua. Seems good. He kind of knows this Maushold's going to go down. He needs to keep these Zoroarks in play to be able to keep chaining these Mausholds after they get knocked out. So even though Vince did prize that Tandemaus, he definitely still could get this KO. All he needs is a way to get Maushold in the discard pile, plus a Defiant Band. Or wait, does he actually already have a Maushold in discard? That's another question too. So curious what he's debating right here. So he must not have what he needs for this combo. He must be missing the Defiant Band if I had to guess. Because otherwise I think what he would do, he would have Ultra Balled away one of his Mausholds to find his fourth one. But there's going to be Sharon's Care, and this is really the issue this Maushold deck is going to run into when its damage output is sort of messed with by, bad prizes or, whiffing these damage modifiers. Because now I can just pick up these damaged Oinkolones every time they get attacked, basically heal them off and re-evolve one of my Lechonks that is waiting there on the bench. So Vince is really forced into a position to need to take one-shots with this deck. So here I am going to use that Pow Pad, going to get myself back that Sharon's Care I just played, as well as that Boss's Orders that I discarded earlier in the game. And I'm feeling pretty good overall about the spot that I'm in here. I really don't know what else I would really want this turn. Would be nice to maybe evolve another Oinkologne EX, maybe get down another Burrell. But here I am going to use Squavet. It's a card we haven't seen too much of just yet, but that's a card that I really do like a lot in these decks with Burrell. You shuffle your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck, and draw one. And this is really cool in these situations where if I have a big clunky hand full of cards I can't play down, I can put them all at the bottom of my deck to reduce my hand size to allow Burrell to actually draw some more cards. And here you can see it's really paying off big here. I was able to find, what I needed to be able to set up a second Burrell. And now between both of these Burrells and the Squavet, it's going to be pretty easy for me to find these healing supporters on these next couple turns. So pressure is definitely on for Vince to be able to start taking some one-hit KOs here. Because he knows that, it's very high likelihood that I'm just going to heal if he isn't able to. Okay, there's going to be another Oinkologne, and then just a KO on this Maushold. So what is Vince actually going to do here? He seems a little bit conflicted, but I think I want to see him promote the Zoroark. I think that seems like a safe Pokemon to promote here, just because he can always transform it into Maushold, or he can opt to not do anything with it at all. So I think that's ultimately what I want to see, and he did promote it. There's going to be the Nest Ball. I don't know how many basics he actually has left. I think he's actually out of his Zoruas. Yeah, so he's completely out of his basics, other than the Radiant Charizard, but that's also going to be another important card for him in this matchup. Ideally, what he wants to do here is he wants to take a one-shot with a Maushold, and then he also wants to take a knockout with Radiant Charizard, and then again, use that Pokemon Go Slowbro to eventually close out this game. So here he is going to Ultra Ball. Transforming into a Maushold here, and then using Research to discard his other one. So actually, as long as he hits double Turbo Energy, and he does, he actually can finally take a one-shot with this Maushold, because he can actually transform this remaining Zoroark into a Maushold that he just discarded. And he will be able to hit for, it'll be in total 290 damage, minus the 20 reduction from the full face guard. And yeah, you can see Vince is stoked. He finally got his big Exodia combo off here to be able to get all these Mausholds in play. But that Defiant Band card, very, very important. If you guys aren't familiar with it just yet, it's a new Pokemon tool card. You do 30 more damage if your Pokemon is behind on prizes. So pretty cool too against Pokemon EX, since it actually does work on them, unlike something like Choice Belt, which otherwise would not. So there's going to be a full face guard and a Lucky Energy coming down on this Oinkologne. And typically I would love to use this Sharon's Care, but since Vince did get rid of my Oinkologne there in the active, instead I won't be able to heal. I'm going to look to Judge. I think that's my ideal supporter card I really want to hit here. And the very last card is going to be a Judge. So yeah, I just want to reset Vince's hand, sort of take away his options. He has a pretty big hand after that KO there. So I'm sure Vince is not very happy with that. He was finally sort of getting into a groove, but you know what? He's still could draw out of this. You know, all he needs is, what, a research or another Cynthia's to bail him out of this hand. But on his next turn, he's not going to be able to get a KO with Maushold. He's going to need to be able to get a knockout with Charizard. So he does have a Magma base, that's a good start. He also has a Defiant Band, but his hand beyond that is, if I'm being honest, it's pretty bad. So this judge definitely did its job. I mean, we don't know what his top deck is just yet, but yeah, for the moment, the judge looks like it definitely did its part here. So Vince is probably just thinking, ugh, man, I might have to just sacrifice something until I can get this Charizard up. And really, Vince has, what, 2 turns to be able to pull off something, even if he whiffs what he needs this turn. Okay, and there's the Serena. That's definitely good. So even if he whiffs what he needs this turn, as long as this Charizard doesn't get bossed up, he's going to have another shot at still staying on course to win this game. So there's going to be a level ball. I don't know what he actually has in deck, though. He searched a few times. He hasn't had anything in there. So, yeah, I think he actually... Okay, if I'm seeing correctly, I think actually his last 3 prizes are Tandemaus, Zorua, and his Hisuian Heavy Ball, because we haven't seen that card either, and I did not see it in his deck. And if that's the case, that's actually... Well, there would actually be a 4th card in there as well. But, yeah, that's actually a really unfortunate 3 of his 4 prizes that he has. So I'm going to go for Pokegear, and this is a pretty big one. Yeah, there's the boss's orders too. So this almost really might be the nail in the coffin. Because, again, Vince needed this Charizard to have a shot at staying in this game here. So, yeah, this might be the writing on the wall. Because Vince knows, he's going to have these Mausholds remaining in play. But he knows my deck is more than well equipped enough to deal with playing the 2-shot war at this point. So here I'm just going for an Ultra Ball, just trying to really just thin my deck as much as possible here, because I want to make sure I can draw into these healing cards, because again, the big threat is going to be gone after this turn. And if you guys didn't notice, I also did get myself down a double Turbo Energy onto my Oinkologne, just because I do actually have to use the second attack here. It's 3 colors energy, does 210, but then you flip a coin. If you get tails, you can't attack on the next turn. But yeah, either way, as long as I'm getting the KO on the Charizard, that is what's most important here. And Vince is probably just thinking, ugh, bro, like, what are you doing to me? Like, I was ready to have a big comeback and still win this one, but yeah, this is rough. So Vince is just going to promote his Maushold. You can see just based on his bio language, he's like, I mean, what else do I really do at this point? I mean, and he does have Pokegear, so again, he would still be in this game if this Charizard didn't get bossed up. So that is definitely a little bit unfortunate for him. So there's going to be a level ball, probably just taking a peek, seeing really what he has access to at this point. Yeah, and there's just not a whole lot I think he has left at this point to really close out this game. So that, again, that might be it. He knows he can attack me if he wants to, but it's not quite going to be enough here, I think, to really make a difference. Oh, and here you can see, instead of the level ball, Vince is just going to go for the Ultra Ball instead. It just thins more cards out of deck. That way he can actually guarantee that he hits something with Pokegear. So, again, guys, these games are pretty low stakes. I don't mind Vince taking back sort of a play like that, since he hasn't played a draw support or anything like that just yet. So, there's going to be the Cynthia. So, yeah, in a world where he didn't get bossed, this would probably be a pretty decent turn for his deck, I'm not going to lie. But there, he's just going to scoop it up. He knows what he has prized at this point. He sees, you know, I really can't come back based on these prizes and you knocking out my Radiant Charizard. So unfortunately, the Oinkologne deck was able to sort of out-tank him here. Actually kind of annoying prizes in both games. But unfortunately, that's just kind of part of one of the issues the Maushold deck has. Bad prizes do affect you a little bit more than most other decks out there. But either way, at the end of the day, I hope you guys still enjoyed a look at these early Scarlet and Violet decks. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you do want to see the full deck list for both these that were used today, I'll put links to the full deck profiles to them down below in the description. But if you guys did enjoy today's content, remember to smack that like button. Or if you're feeling a little bit extra generous and want to take that support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.